Welcome back, guys. So this will be a video, and I can actually kind of show you on here, but I think it's a little small, so I'm going to show you a little bit in a second. We're going to be going over the first chart that we have for this chapter. It is called Tener. It's this first one that you have right over here on page 105. Remember, whoops, you can't even tell my time. There it is, page 105. Page 105 is like the review page. It has everything for the whole chapter, but this video specifically is going to focus on this chart. So whenever we have grammar, we do verbs. That's what grammar is, basically using the verbs. We're always going to be using this chart that we've kind of already gotten used to looking at from the last couple of grammar ideas that we've gone over, right? It's always different spellings in every single box. This will be the verb to have. That's what tener means. And I'm going to kind of show you on this one because I think this is a bit better because you can see it a bit bigger. So this, if you want to look at this in your book, like to follow along with me, it's on page 91 if you don't want to look at the screen. So, okay, we'll start at the top. I didn't need that entire thing. There we go. This idea is relatively new. We've only done it pretty much once before with the verb ser, but we're going to do this with every single verb, action word that we ever come across, no matter what year of Spanish you're doing. This is like breathing. Like, you need to know how to do this idea. This is called conjugating. This exists in English too. It's just that we do it normally because we've grown up with it, and so you don't know that you're doing it. Conjugating, you can see kind of, whoops, maybe I moved it up too high. You can see up here, is just changing the form or the spelling of a verb to indicate or like to give information to show who is doing the action, like who you're talking about. Am I the one reading? Is he the one reading? Is like all of them the ones who are reading? So like, who are we talking about? That's basically what conjugating is. You just change the spelling to give information as to who you are talking about. So we're going to be conjugating this verb, tener. Originally, the first time you ever learned how to conjugate was last chapter. We did the verb ser. Ser meant to be. So you said yo soy, or you said tú eres, or you said one person like él or ella or usted, or like someone that you're talking about, es. If you remember some of those endings, that's basically what you were doing, but now we're doing it with a different verb. So let us begin. This verb, tener, means to have, like to possess something, right? To own something, basically. Depending as to who you talk about, you have all of these different spellings in red. So if I'm talking about myself, I have to use the spelling tengo. I know it kind of sounds like tango, like the dance. So if I have, for example, this computer, right, that I'm filming this on, I say yo, that's talking about me, tengo computadora. I have a computer. My word for computadora is computer, like that in Spanish. If I'm talking to you, and it's like, I know you have a computer, let me borrow it, right? Like mine broke. I would say, tú tienes computadora. You have a computer, like I know this about you. So depending on who you talk about, you have to choose the right spelling. If I'm talking about an individual, so I'm not talking to them, right? It's not like me talking to the word you, because that's how you say you right here, tú. If I'm talking about someone, like I know he has a computer, I know she has a computer, I know someone else, but I'm not talking to that person, I'm just saying I know that about them. Then I say this word, tiene. We technically use some of these last chapter when we talked about describing people. Because if I had, for example, brown hair, I said, yo tengo pelo castaño. I have brown hair. I said that I had something, because I did, right? I have brown hair. If I talked about how someone else had brown hair or red hair or blonde hair or whatever type of hair they had, then you did use this word, tiene. So we have technically had some of these before. We just haven't had the whole chart. So we're doing the entire chart now. The second column is always multiple people, if you guys remember, right? So this was only you. This is only one person you're talking to. This is only one guy, one girl, one adult. Now we have a lots. This top one, tenemos, the nosotros tenemos. Nosotros, or nosotras, depending as to who's talking, just means you plus other people, right? So it's going to be a group. It's more than one. So if it's like me and my friends have math class in the morning, I could say mis amigas, right? My friends, y yo and I tenemos matemáticas en la mañana. We have math in the morning. Or if I don't want to say my friends and I can just say we have math in the morning, right? Nosotros tenemos matemáticas en la mañana. The second box here, again, we have to know it exists. You don't exactly use it very often just because we don't live in Spain, so we don't have a special version of using it. But this is just the Spain version of they. So if I'm saying like those girls over there have PE or have history or have science in the mornings or whenever they have it, I could say this version or I could say the bottom version. They both mean they. So I'm going to use the bottom one because that's what most of us end up using because we don't live in Spain. So it could be ustedes, it could be a bunch of adults I'm talking about, it could be ellos, it could be ellas, doesn't matter. Either way, I would say tienen. That would be the new spelling. So depending as to who you talk about, you got to choose the right spelling from this box. The second thing I'm going to show you is this section so far is all about items, right? I have brown hair. I have a computer. I have math class. I have whatever you have. So they're all talking about nouns, things, people, places, right? Like I have a house. I have a car. I have cousins and a friend and a mom or whoever I'm talking about. This bottom section here is only used if you talk about activities. So like, I have to sleep. I have to clean my room. I have to study. I have to do homework, whatever you have to do. So if it's an action that you have to do, you actually need to add a letter. Sorry, not a letter. You have to add a word to this red word that we already had up here. So if I say que, it's kind of yellowy orange here. Hopefully you can see it. But if I say que, then I'm going to be using it when talking about activities. So for example, tengo que estudiar. I'm saying I have to, that's like the extra word, study. So if I have to read, for example, I would say tengo que leer. I have to read. So that's talking about an action I have to do. I have to read, right? Like I have to finish this chapter for class tomorrow. I have to do an action. I have to read. Maybe I'm really hungry and I haven't eaten today. I could say, tengo que comer. Remember the old word for eating? Comer. So I have to eat. Maybe I need to eat because I'm super hungry. If you talk about other people, like all of these other spellings that we had here, those rules don't change. If I'm talking about me to you, I'm still going to say tienes. I'm talking about someone individual, but I'm not talking to them. I'm talking like about them, like about how my mom had something. Still going to use tiene. So this doesn't affect anything. You still have the same spellings that have to be used with certain people, but it's just that now I can also put this word que, and then I'm going to be talking about an action that they have to do. So I'll give you some sample sentences. First, I'll give you all the nouns, like the basic versions of I have. So yo tengo amigo. I have a friend. I have a thing. It's a person, right? But like I have this. I have a friend. I can talk to you. I can say tú tienes comida. You have food, maybe, right? I'm saying you have food. I know that. Maybe I'm talking about someone. Ella, some girl, I don't know who. Ella tiene matemáticas. She has math. I know she's in my class with me, right? She has math. She has a thing. She has that class. Nosotros tenemos. So we have. Nosotros tenemos libros. We have books for Espanol, right? We know we all have textbooks, either online or in person. I'm not going to use this one because we're not in Spain. A lot of people, maybe it's a bunch of your teachers, right? Ustedes tienen estudiantes. You have students, right? All your teachers have students. That makes sense. So these are all nouns that I'm talking about. Either we have other people that we're talking about, or we have things, right? Like a computer or books, or we have a place, although I didn't talk about any places for the sample sentences. If I want to talk about activities, I add a word. Yo tengo que, extra word that doesn't exist up here, but it is here if you need to use an activity. Yo tengo que leer. I have to read. Tú tienes que estudiar. You have to study. This is me just telling you. One person, maybe it's a guy this time. Él tiene que comer. He has to eat. Nosotros tenemos que, let's see, hablar. We have to talk. Me just telling you as like a teacher, we have to talk. Again, I went to Spain. Maybe it's ellos. Maybe it's a group of people, guys and girls, right? Ellos tienen que practicar baseball. They have to go to baseball practice. That's an activity they have to do, right? They have to go to their practice. So it just depends on what you're trying to say. Are you talking about activities? Are you talking about nouns? But if you talk about activities, add the extra word. If not, keep it as it is. Hopefully this is semi-helpful. Again, this is also found on page 105 down here. And if you guys have questions, please ask me in class. All right, I'll see you guys next time.